Yeah, we're live.
Alrighty. So, first time on the new channel, huh?
Yeah,
It's kind of exciting.
it is exciting. I've been anticipating for this day. I was sick, by the way. The last
Last
time,
week.
yeah, remember you hit me up, and you were like, "Oh, what'd you say? You were just like, oh yeah, I'm in the middle of school, blah blah." I was literally in my deathbed. I was like, dude, if you only knew like how sick I was.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy that you didn't know because I was doing homework and totally forgot.
Dude, I was finished, bro.
Um,
All right, let's
a
see.
lot happened this last week, man. A lot happened. Not just with you, not just like with movies, but YouTube kind of went crazy. Getting closer to the election, all kinds of drama just started popping up. You see this?
Yeah, I seen it.
I mean, we're not going to talk about politics or anything, but man, people are losing their minds.
Yeah, I've I literally have very strong opinions about this election, and I literally sit back in my seat and I see what everyone's like posting on Facebook, and I'm literally just like screaming. I'm like, what are you even saying right now? But it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's gotten to a point where it's just like I literally, for my own sanity, just like not pay attention because it's like
no,
I'm a
completely.
register. I registered. I'm a vote, and we'll see what happens. It is terrifying. I just can't wait to see the movie about this. I can't wait.
No, seriously. Um, what's it called? So besides that, though, like what I think is crazy is all the YouTubers that are coming out.
I'm a vote, and we'll see. Who? Oh, Casey. You're talking about Casey.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is Casey?
Oh man. I
Sorry, one second. My computer lagged out real quick. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm good. My bad. Alrighty.
yeah.
So
I,
go ahead with Casey.
I saw the Casey video, and honestly, when I saw the video, I didn't think anything of it, to be totally honest. I was like, okay, he's really trying to put, his 2 cents in, because he seems very scared of what Trump may do. And he wants to endorse Hillary, and he was telling people to vote. But then when he started calling out other YouTubers and telling other people, I was like, damn, bro, like you
Mm,
can't, especially as popular as you are, like all these commenters and subscribers, all they want to do is witch hunt other people. So I was like, I mean, like you look at like Philip DeFranco, like he does tell you that he doesn't tell you exactly who he's voting for, but he's been pretty transparent on the fact that he won't be voting for like Hillary or Trump. Um, and that's fine. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm not voting for this. I'm doing that. That's cool. But I don't know. I just kind of I was a little bit worried once he made that statement, and then all the drama unfolded. And yeah, man, it was a dark place. But I think for the most part, a lot of people didn't get too pissed off with him, so that was fine.
yeah. It was just interesting the way that seeing Casey come from this place of where he's always just doing these fun videos and then like having him drop this bomb, but it wasn't like he was dropping it nicely. He took this bomb, he packed 3 nukes in it, and then decided he was just going to drop it in the middle of the US.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
I
really
know he's based in New
unexpected.
York. Yeah, because when you take something like that is so, if Donald Trump was to come out and say something like that, like whatever, because it's Donald Trump, but because Casey is known as this fun-loving type of person, for him to come out and just blow up like he did, about endorsing Hillary, and not only that, but like cause this whole issue of now if your YouTuber doesn't get involved with these things and you want to hear what their opinion is, tell them to come out and say it. And at that point, he basically sends out a hate mob and says, "Hey, are you not endorsing Hillary because you're voting for Trump?" And now we've got this whole issue with the rights to YouTube. When you sign that contract and you basically become a partner, you say that you're not allowed. You state that you were not going to send people to go harass other YouTubers. So it was a little bit interesting, just because when that came out, it was just a hate mob that was released, and I think that's the only thing I had an issue with. I don't have a problem with people stating their opinion, but when you tell 5.3 million subscribers of your own and everybody else who views the video to go and talk to their YouTuber, it can get a little bit sticky. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, movie. The problem is, I was thinking, if there is a Donald Trump Hillary movie about this whole campaign and this whole thing,
Yeah.
who could play Donald Trump without it coming off like comedic and hilarious? I don't think you could pull off a dramatic Donald Trump role. I think it's almost impossible.
Yeah, like the only person that could play Donald Trump is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He'd have to star in his own movie.
Yeah, it'd just be too hilarious to see other people play it. But yeah, man, crazy time on YouTube, and it's gonna get to that point, man, where we're gonna be too popular and we say anything. It's really, our words are gonna, the littlest thing we say are gonna mean a big deal, like a big deal, like.
Yeah, and you know, I love Philip DeFranco in the way that he addressed Casey Neistat's situation, and what he told his subscribers, because he doesn't tell people who he's going to vote for or anything. He's very an unbiased person, and I love him, like, absolutely. I love watching his each day his new videos about just the news, and he just gives us facts. But the way he addressed it was, you know, he talks about the whole, like, you know, breaching of the agreement and all that type of stuff. But then he talks about how if your vote is swayed by a celebrity, then you're not living by your own opinion. You're living by others' opinions. And in such, you're not living for yourself. And I really like the way that he said that, because it shouldn't matter who somebody else is voting for. Opinions shouldn't matter in the situation. We have to look at the facts, and we have to look at the characters, period. But going forward, besides all this junk that happened on YouTube, some good stuff happened with movies, and I swear, okay, so two things happened this last week. I seen the John Wick Chapter 2 trailer, and then I see
Go ahead.
and then I also seen the Assassin's Creed trailer number 2, and I about lost it. Like, I'm so excited for both of these films. Like, if you were wondering what my topic was today, by the way, Jarrell, it's Assassin's Creed trailer number 2 and John Wick. Those are my two things that I just wanted to talk about.
I haven't seen the Assassin's Creed trailer yet.
Dude, what are you doing right now?
So I'm not gonna even watch it right now. I'm gonna wait till after this video. But okay, I can talk on John Wick too, because I was at New York Comic Con when they actually premiered the trailer. It wasn't even on YouTube. I actually saw it first. And Common, Keanu Reeves, everyone was there, and
Lawrence Fishburne, bro. Lawrence Fishburne. I was so excited.
We're back together. That's really awesome. I from the looks of it, what's funny is, like, when in the panel they were telling a story in Comic-Con that they were hanging out with Lawrence Fishburne. It was Keanu Reeves and I believe the director, because Keanu Reeves and the director are like best friends. They did this movie for fun. They didn't think John Wick was actually gonna blow up the way it did. So anyway, so they're at dinner with Lawrence Fishburne, and Lawrence Fishburne is like, he's just like, yeah, I saw John Wick and I really liked it. And then they looked at each other and they're like, did you? Or did you like it? So they ended up asking him. He's like, all right, I'll read the script, and they end up getting him. I'm like, how hard is it to really get Lawrence Fishburne, really? But they got him. That's fun. And I wonder if he's going to play like the similar role that Willem Dafoe played in the first John Wick.
Yeah, or is he going to play the the actual villain in the film?
Well, from my understanding, Common is the villain in the film, but he isn't.
Well, you probably have a better understanding than all of us.
Yeah, like him and Lawrence Fishburne, I think they're like, no, Lawrence Fishburne is a very big fan of John Wick, in the movie, and I believe, I could be wrong, but Common is not necessarily the villain. He's just kind of like, him and Keanu Reeves are pretty much both bad guys if you really think about it, but they have just different points of view, and that's where the conflict comes in. I guess, but I was looking at some of the behind the scenes footage, and it looks like they were having a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. I really, apparently it's about 3 times the action of the first one. That's what they said at the panel. Yeah.
And when I was watching the trailer for it, and there was that scene with John Wick in the tunnel with the AK, and he was shooting people, I was just immediately falling in love with him because he was doing it. You know what I mean? Just like the club scene where he's paying attention to where he's shooting. He's shooting people in the correct place. Like, he knows what he's doing, and it's not as easy to count the bullets as he was able to in the with an AK.
Yeah.
But you can still see that like mindset and that processing of what's going on around him, and that was like the coolest thing ever.
What was I gonna say? Shit, I forgot I was gonna go with that. But yeah, he's damn it, I missed it. Well, anyways, they were showing some footage, some behind the scenes footage, and there's this one part where you see in the trailer where he pulls out the gun and he pops like 3 people in the face all at once.
Yeah.
They show the director watching it happen, like, you know, behind the scenes. And when it's happening, he makes a face like, oh my God. Like he was genuinely just like, maybe I went overboard. Like maybe I went too far. And I'm just like, nah, man, you're good. We're expecting that. We want nothing less.
It's so exciting. It really is. Like, I really like Keanu Reeves in this role a lot. He does very well to play this character. I'm thinking with the film, because, you know, we had a motivation last film. I don't know about you, but when that dog was killed, that was the only thing left of his wife. I mean, I felt a motivation throughout the entire film to just go after these guys. You know, I was motivated behind John Wick's character to kill everybody. I'm interested to find out what the motivation is this film. If it's just, you know, now we're just telling the story, you know, is there a motivation, or is it just John Wick got hired to take this guy out, or is this guy trying to take John Wick out? I'm interested to see how they bring it together and see if they give us another motivation that was as motivating as the first film.
When they were talking about the film, one of the biggest questions that everyone kept asking them was like, does another dog die? And they,
of course,
they didn't want to answer the question at all. They were just like, well, you have to see the movie. It's technical. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, please don't rehash it. Like, he's not even that close to the dog. You got the close. I don't think the connection's the same. I don't think if you killed his dog, I'm going to care as much. And you kill any dog, I'm going to be sad. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying, like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that connected. I don't know what the actual. They didn't really give much away. But I hope it's like you haven't seen the Raid 2, so I can't say anything, but where the first Raid and John Wick are both very simplistic. There's not much of a plot going on, but the characters are so damn good that you care for them, at least. Where the second Raid, it was like full of story. Like there was just so much corruption and things going on. There are twists, like 3 twists in the movie that you're not expecting. And I kind of hope they have that same approach, because it like I said before, like this world needs to expand. Like I'm looking at a TV series for, you know, eventually, not for specifically John Wick, like the Continental, or, you know, I want them to really expand this world, because I'm super, super interested. What they will not do, and I said this before, don't do a prequel TV show. I don't want to see like young John Wick or anything like that. I know that may sound juicy to a lot of people, but personally, I could do without it.
Less.
I could care. I want to see the bigger picture, but yeah. And what I know you want to talk about Assassin's Creed, but I'm gonna talk about one last thing, because I don't know how I feel about this. What do you feel about Power Rangers?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. I will tell you this. The first thing that I was very impressed by was their ability to make the decision of saying, like, we're not going to make these guys as cool as the TV show was. You know what I mean? All these kids, as we can already tell from the first trailer, they're all nerds. Nobody likes them. They're bullied. And I liked that idea. I always like the idea of nerds coming into power, and like, or not technically nerds, because I'm guessing that not all of them are going to have good grades, but all of them being, you know, just not cool in school. And, you know, I love the idea every time I see Spider-Man, the first film, and I just see, you know, Tobey Maguire getting picked on, getting bullied. And then he gets that power and he's able to defend himself. It's one of the coolest things, you know, to see when somebody that you expect nothing of to become something. I mean, it's just crazy to think about those things. So I really like that idea. But did you hear also that the DC Justice League is going to cross over and make 6 comics with the Power Rangers?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm thinking, well, if they're doing this with comics, like, DC knows they're making a film. You know, is there going to be an aspect of this film? Because it definitely seems more super-powered rather than Power Rangers and, like, suits. And, like, these guys are definitely chosen by, like, something from space. And, like, they get powers. And these suits are not, you know, you put them on, like, they're not gloves. And, like, it seems like these things are growing out of their chest when we watch the trailer. Go ahead.
So what I will say is that in the very first episode of the Power Rangers, not that I've seen the whole entire series, which I did, but when they first become the Power Rangers, they actually don't morph. When they
Mhm.
first become the Power Rangers for the first time, they just kind of appear with suits. So I kind
Yeah.
of feel like that's what you're seeing in there. Because I'm gonna tell you this much. Gosh, I'm tired, but I'm gonna tell you this much. If they do not morph, if the Power Rangers do not morph, they don't say it's morphin' time, I'm gonna be highly pissed off. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be so angry that don't I don't want to see some just like them doing that whole transformation thing that happened. That's a one-time thing. If they're
Yeah.
being consistent with the show, that's a one-time thing that does happen. It just doesn't happen as cool as the movie made it look. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
They don't say it's morphin' time and morph, and they don't joke on it. You know, when Spidey was doing this in like the first Spider-Man, and he was like, web, fly, like do
Yeah.
that, make fun of it. But this movie needs to be self-aware,
Yeah.
and they gotta embrace it. Like don't try to be too serious. This is not like your story is not that rich.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. The thing that I see too is that I want this film to be grounded. I want this film because a lot of people like there's always mixed reviews on Elizabeth Banks playing any role. Every time she gets picked for a role, it's like a 50-50 chance people are already just talking crap or lifting her up. One of the biggest surprises was the Hunger Games when she came out as a whole new character. One of the brightest points of the Hunger Games to me was actually her character in all 4 films. I loved watching her because she felt like she was specific to herself. She felt like she really had this character that was so different but so embracive into the situation she was in, to where you just took her in. You didn't second guess her character whatsoever. Part of it being the environment, but most of it being how she carried herself with such confidence as that character. um, I think her as a bad guy is probably going to be one of the greater things for the Power Rangers film, because the issue that not the issue, the thing that held up the last Power Rangers film, all the shows, were the characters. All of the Power Rangers, when I look back about it, whether it was the Red Ranger, the Blue Ranger, the Pink Ranger, whoever it was, you cared about them. I cared about each individual character growing up, wanting to know what they were going through, wanting to know their situations. And then especially like the mysterious I don't even remember if it was the white or black ranger. I just know he had white and black on him. I don't even know what they called him anymore. I'm just going to be honest because I haven't seen it.
Zach?
Zach, yeah. The mystery behind that character drove me when I was younger to like, because I know at first when he first came out, nobody knew who he was, correct? When he first reveals himself?
Oh, the one that I believe everyone knew. I think the one that was mysterious was when the White Ranger came.
That's what I mean. The White Ranger, when he came out, like there was a mystery behind that character. So what I'm saying is that they did really good character development in the TV show, especially at the beginning, and making us care about these characters. They were the cool kids in school, but they were the cool kids we'd want to hang out with, not the cool kids that you'd want to stay away from because they were jerks. I also like the fact that the Power Rangers didn't necessarily need the suits on to know how to fight. There was many situations where they just knew how to fight no matter what, like no matter if they were in their suit or not. I hope that is part of the film. I hope they don't need their suits to be.
It looks like it. It looks like they're not going to need them because the Blue Ranger was just standing there and he got headbutt in the face and the guy knocked out. So
Oh really? Oh, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. In the
So
trailer, like where like their bodies do change and basically they become these characters. Yeah. So I have high hopes for the film. I think that the film is going to be very grounded in reality, and that could be a double-edged sword. That's the thing I'm scared for, because if it becomes too grounded in reality and doesn't remind us of the Power Rangers that we know to be not based in this world, then it can get a little bit weird. But I think they're going to be fine, dude. I have high hopes for the film. I think the first trailer didn't give us almost enough to make any general assumptions of what it could or couldn't be.
I think from watching the first trailer, I definitely got a Chronicle vibe. Like the tone was just so Chronicle to me, which is not a bad thing because I love Chronicle to death. I felt like it's funny because the Red Ranger was probably my least favorite. There was something I loved the Blue Ranger, and who was the other one? I think the blue and the pink ranger are going to be the standouts, and I think the other ones are just kind of going to be in the background. I know that Jason has a love story or whatnot, but he looks like such a generic actor to me that I just something about him just screams CW that I don't take him. I can't look at him like a no. I'm being honest. Like he doesn't come
Scream
across.
CW. That's hilarious. Go ahead.
Yeah, he doesn't come across like a Hollywood actor. Like I'm not taking. I just can't take him serious. Like I kind of hope that he gets killed off in it. I don't know, and they could replace him with someone else because at least the original cast, like they were unique. You want to know an interesting fact? I have an interesting one for you. Zach, the Black Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that in his left hand he only has 4 fingers? He's missing his ring finger.
So Zach, as in like in the film, or
No, in the original TV show,
I had
he
no idea.
he had 4 fingers. Yeah, look it up. He always had 4 fingers. He lost that finger when he was like 4 years old, and like I think 3 or 4 years old. Something happened and he lost that finger. Yeah, man. Factual shit. And I saw him in New York Comic Con. I walked by him and I looked at it. I was like, oh, yep, there's no finger there. I was like, it's missing. Give me 4. No, but I'm kidding. But yeah. So I don't know. All right. So I'm gonna let you Assassin's Creed me. Go ahead.
Okay.
Because I'm lost.
Okay, so I'm a big fan. Franchise in whole. I've played all the games. I've played through most of them. I didn't finish some of them. I actually recently just replayed a few of them. The reason being is because I'm really excited for this film because the studio knew that they were getting themselves into a sticky situation. There has not been a successful video game franchise ever. It is so hard to take video games and adapt them into a film. It's very easy to take a film and adapt it into a video game. We've seen some successful ones, some unsuccessful ones. But the thing is like with Assassin's Creed, for one, they got Michael Fassbender, and that in itself to me is like, you guys are already winning. And I don't feel like Michael Fassbender would take a risk in this situation unless he believed in it. You know what I mean? Because he's not an idiot. He's been around for the 21st century. He knows that video game films, they usually don't work. Ubisoft. Go ahead.
I gotta look at something. There's been quite a few great actors in movies based off video games that have been pretty bad. Right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What are some movies?
Well, Street Fighter.
Oh, but come on. I mean, I think M. Bison was probably the most, like, the guy who played, the dad in Addams Family. Why am I forgetting his name?
I can't even remember.
All right. Anyways, continue on. I'm going to do some research. And I'm going to, go ahead. I want to hear
Okay. So, going forward, Tomb Raider. Okay, I got them all right here. There's been Tomb Raider, which actually wasn't bad because the film actually knew what it was. So, but then the second one bombed. The first one also had its issue with casting Daniel Craig as an American when he was the only English person in the film. I still don't get it. But
that's hilarious.
Mortal Kombat, I mean, that's a double-edged sword for some people. Some people feel like that was a good one. Other people feel
I like Mortal Kombat. I think it's a little overrated. People really think like, it's just. I'm like, yes, it was fun. It's fine. It's I just don't think just because it was passable that I guess it does make it like the best.
Probably.
Wait, in the Name of the King was based off a video game.
In the Name of the King was Doom, Max Payne, Silent Hill, Prince of Persia. I mean. I liked Jake Gyllenhaal as the Persian, but the film itself there was nothing great about it. It was overblown.
Wreck-It Ralph is probably, it's not based off a video game, but that is the only, like, I would tell you this much. There are 2 movies that feel like video games, that feel like they're based off video games that are incredible. Wreck-It Ralph being one of them because it's paying homage to a lot of video games and whatnot. So I guess it doesn't count.
Yeah.
But I feel like Edge of Tomorrow was the closest we ever got to an actual, video game movie with the whole respawning thing. You know what I mean? Like
No, definitely, and it was one of my favorite films. Like I still love watching that film over and over again because I like the idea of it. I like the idea of bringing a person over and over again through a certain situation and how they learn from their mistakes. It really gave a glimpse into the way we see things as gamers because I'm a huge gamer. Go forward. Go forward.
Yeah, but I love that. Let's
My
see. I'm gonna go
but
ahead.
okay, there is one that I'm actually I'm in love with this film. I can't believe like I'm thinking of more like films that actually are story driven and actually have a storyline behind them being made into films. Not so much like when you just take a 2-dimensional game that like Wreck-It Ralph for example. But Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that movie was spectacular. Like
yeah.
from the editing to the actors to all of the action scenes. Like I just remember falling in love with that film and being so involved with that movie. And it does really well too because the transitions within the film. I watched this guy called Nerdwriter. You guys should check him out. This guy does some great in-depth like responses to films and like detail oriented like visions within films. But he talks about Scott Pilgrim versus the World and like how the transitions actually play a part in the film because Michael Cera is so like lost in his world and doesn't know where he's going that sometimes like he'll be at a certain place and then immediately like when it transitions you don't even notice because they're still in the same position but they're in a different room. And he's there, like what the director was trying to get across is that this character is just going through life without like even paying attention and doesn't even know how he ends up in certain places because he's just so lackadaisical about where he's going in life. And it's really cool because in video games, sometimes we're just going and then all of a sudden we're like, how the heck did we get here? Because we find ourselves just, lost in the world we're in. Anything else you want to mention about that before I keep going on about Assassin's Creed?
I'm gonna run down a list real quick.
Okay.
And then I want you to say yay or nay. That's
Okay.
it. No maybe. Okay.
Got it.
Super Mario Brothers.
Nay.
Double Dragon.
Nay.
I like Double Dragon. It's a horrible movie, but I watched that movie so many times because that was like the only game I had for NES. I didn't even have Super Mario Brothers for NES. I had it and someone stole it. Then we have Street Fighter.
Nay.
Mortal Kombat.
Yay.
Annihilation, one of the worst films
Nay.
ever made. I wouldn't even let you answer that.
Nay.
I didn't even know Wing Commander was based off a video game with Freddie Prinze Jr.
I never seen that one.
Lara Croft.
First Tomb Raider, yay. Second Tomb Raider, nay.
Final Fantasy Spirits Within, I thought was boring. I thought it looked good, but I thought it was boring as hell.
I do want to check out the Final Fantasy film that just came out. It's animated, but Kingsglaive, that's being like broadcasted everywhere. It looks pretty sweet.
I saw it like 4 months ago.
Oh, really? And now it's just being advertised?
Yeah.
Was it any good?
It's like a compilation of so many things. Like they put so much crap in it that it seems more of like a paying homage. You got to be playing the games to understand what's going on, kind of thing.
Okay.
Because everyone could catch a reference that I couldn't catch. So House of the Dead, horrible. Apocalypse, Resident Evil.
All the Resident Evil films, man. Like this is what the 6th one coming out. I'd say the first 3 were yays. The last 3 have been nays. Or no, first 2 have been yays. The last 3 have been nays. The new one, I don't know, because this hasn't come out yet.
Can you believe that Warcraft has made the most money out of all the video game movies?
Dude, that movie's trailer like absolutely ruined me to think that anybody would see it. But I mean,
second?
What's second?
Angry Birds.
Really, nigga? Oh, shoot. Dude, I hated that film. Like, I found myself, I was at a drive-in watching that film. And when you go to a drive-in, it's supposed to be exciting and really happy because, you get to bring in all the food with you and you didn't have to pay like $20 for a bag of pop or box of popcorn or something like that. It wasn't exciting. I was very upset that I spent any money to go and see that film. I didn't even do a review on it, and I watched it because of how bad it was. Like, I just wanted people to understand, like, I didn't want to waste any more time on that film than I already had.
I mean, we have Assassin's Creed coming up. We got the final chapter, Resident Evil. We have Tomb Raider remake.
Really?
Sonic the Hedgehog coming in 2018.
What? Like an animated film or an actual film?
I don't know. There's no details. Minecraft, okay. Five Nights at Freddy's.
I don't know. That's a great app, but
Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper might be legit, dude. I love Sly Cooper.
The problem with that is that they're probably gonna do what they did with Ratchet and Clank, where they just pretty much take, those the videos in between, what you call that,
Yeah, I
and then
totally get what
just
you mean.
and then stitch it together and make it a movie, because that's what they did in Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, basically just change the voice acting on the rest of those cutscenes.
That's all they did.
Um, I think so. Let's get back to the main point here. Assassin's Creed. What I was trying to illustrate first is that they're taking their time with this film. They took their time for years to make sure that they got the right studio they felt could handle this film and make it successful. If this film is not successful, I think we need to stop. We need to stop for a while and resuscitate. Resuscitate. That's bringing somebody back to life. We need to reestablish. That's the word. We need to determine what we need to fix within a video game film before we make another one. But I'm hoping that's what Assassin's Creed does. I'm really loving, because the thing about Assassin's Creed is there's so many key things, within the game. The end of each trailer has had the diving off of the thing, which is the leap of faith within the game. It's a key subject, and they're making it look so crazy. Like, it looks so good, though. It doesn't look it's becoming believable in my eyes to where I'm watching and I'm like, oh, I've seen something like this in other films, to where I'm not trying to associate this scene with just a video game, but I'm thinking like, oh, other films have done something like this, but they haven't. Do you know what I mean? They're doing their best to make it step out of that, this is a video game, to step into this is real. There's also the scene within the second trailer that just got released where it actually has Michael Fassbender jumping off one of the buildings and landing and executing a person, which is one of the iconic things from the game. Like, that was the first thing you ever learned within the first Assassin's Creed, is jumping off of something and landing on a person and shoving a knife through their neck. And so they're putting these iconic scenes already in there that I'm seeing within the trailer. I also like Michael Fassbender's trailer. They really showed it off in this last trailer of him, like, about to be executed, and then him waking up. They actually showed a little bit more backstory to that. Not what he did still, but you just get to see him before he goes on a death row. And then you also get to see a little bit more of the attitude of Abstergo, which is the villain in the film, towards Michael Fassbender, which was really cool. So it's making me think, like, he's not doing this for, like, he's doing this against his will. And I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be good, because now we're not just going to have the storyline, of him having to do these things within the world that he's going to, the Spanish Inquisition, but he's also going to be struggling with Abstergo, making him do these things. Because there was a really cool scene where when he wakes up, instead of it just saying, as to the world, you're dead, she says after that, and who is going to care that you're gone? Basically, we're getting an attitude there. And then right before she shoves him into the world, he screams, no, 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 what are you doing? Wait. And then he's in there. And I was like, okay, I'm liking this atmosphere too, of there's going to be two struggles going on. So we're going to get these two different stories, which is a double-edged sword once again, but they are two stories that I am enjoying, that I'm going to get to see, or enjoying the fact that I'm going to get to see them, because it's a new story within the Spanish Inquisition, and it's a new story telling of a main character that we haven't seen in the video game yet, which is the smartest decision they could have made, because nobody wants to follow the same story we've already seen with Desmond Miles. Although I don't know if the character's name in the film is Desmond Miles. I need to check that actually right now. What are your opinions? I mean, I know you haven't seen the second trailer, but
I'm I don't know. I feel like okay, I've seen really good trailers. I've seen a lot of great trailers this year to really crappy movies. Like, that's why, like, my excitement for trailers are just, like, been to shit. Like, remember I used to do trailer reactions a lot, and I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not really looking forward to this movie. And I remember seeing I just remember Power Rangers as being like something like, okay, I can watch this. I'm looking forward to it. They've been doing the same kiddie stuff for like 20 plus years now. So I'm in the mood for something different. With Assassin's Creed, it's just like the fact that it's based off a video game. There's just this little stench that's coming from it. You know what I mean? Like, It's not like, I'm not like, how you say it? I'm not opposed to it. I think it looks good. I think visually it looks amazing. I think the action looks well done. I think the acting is going to be phenomenal. I just don't see it pleasing everybody at the same time. I honestly don't think man, this is so negative, but it could it could be great. It could be Oscar worthy, and because it's based off a video game, it's just not going to be that good. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, I feel what you mean. Um, I think that's the scariest part about taking it on, and that's why I have more faith, because the Assassin's Creed video games are all great, and there's some great storylines within those games. Um, and so to scratch those, I can already see some hate. You know what I mean? Because and I did search it. Michael Fassbender isn't playing Desmond Miles, who was the main character for like the first 5 games. He's playing a guy named Callum Lynch. I don't believe has been in the game at all.
Yeah.
Which in itself, people can be like, man, I really wanted to see Desmond Miles. But I feel like this film, I remember in 2012 they announced it. You know what I mean? In 2012, we're in 2016, and Michael Fassbender, under his name, it said Desmond Miles on IMDb. I think they tried to go with that idea, and they realized that they weren't going to please people with it, and so they did a reshoot, you know? And when that happens, it gets a little bit scary, but I also think it was one of the smartest decisions, because we've had films all based off of video games, following one certain story that's in the video game, trying to add their own twists, which people get pissed off about because it's not in the game. Now, people have to walk into this film understanding that it is not Desmond Miles because of the changes they've made. They have to walk in understanding there's going to be iconic moments, because we can see them in the trailer, but they are not going to be the moments that you have already seen. We're going to try to pay homage to that the best we can, but we're giving you a whole brand new story, so you don't feel like you're rewatching the same thing or disappointed in any of the changes we make to the story because you don't know it.
See, I know for a fact they're going to take a lot of liberties, which is why I know for a fact that's probably why they removed that whole Desmond thing. That's the same thing that happened with forgot his name, the guy who played the guy in Ninja Turtles, the remake.
Yeah.
He was
Stephen
supposed to be
Amell?
right. He was supposed to no, that not that guy.
Oh, Shredder, or
It was
what are we
Shredder,
talking
but
about?
let me get the actor up for you, because I wanna mess this up. Ninja.
Okay. No, I totally get it.
What's his name? Okay, here it is. It's wait, what? Oh, it's giving me the wrong freaking movie. I don't want. Oh, here it is. All right, all right. Let's see. Yeah. So, William Fitchner.
Okay.
All right. He was playing Eric Sachs in a movie. So
Yeah.
he was the guy who was just like working for Shredder. Remember in the Ninja Turtles movie where
Yeah. Yeah.
he was supposed to be Shredder, and then last minute they did reshoots and they took him off the road completely because they just knew that it was just going way against the character. And then when you watch the movie itself, you can tell how unbalanced the movie really was. And then you look at anything, and I hate to be that guy, but I know most movies do reshoots, if not all movies do reshoots, but the ones that are publicly known usually end up to be the worst thing. So like for example, what just passed? Like Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
We saw what that turned out to be like. I really feel like they're I don't know. I think there's a lot of pressure with these studios, and I really don't understand why they keep taking on all these big characters and big franchises, and they just don't know what they're gonna do with this straight out the gate. You know, they go one direction, they wing it, and then they have to fix their mess in the ending. And that's the thing that's just getting me. Like, I just kind of feel like they can cut up a trailer, they can make it good, but then when they put the movie together, the movie just doesn't. Because I just kind of feel like sometimes when you're basing something off a video game or a comic book or anything like that, like you're looking at like, oh, this was cool from this, I want to make sure I put this in there just to pay homage, I'll put this and I'll put that, and then when you put the shit together, it just really just doesn't look that good. So I really just hope that I hope it's great. You know, I'm I go in there with a clear mind, but I really just don't have that much faith in it. Unfortunately, I don't know of the video game, but I could, I could I just see a lot of people being disappointed no matter what. And, but yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's really all I can say to that.
Well, the thing is, too, is, I think sometimes the greatest movies that come out are the ones that people have no expectations for, are the ones that we've already been failed in this area so many times. Like, why would anything be different this time?
You're right. No,
And
you're absolutely
so,
right. But people are looking at this trailer and they think it's the best thing ever. They feel like that this is the one. Like no one's reacting to this trailer like me. Like I'll be honest with you, I feel like I'm the only
yeah.
person that feels this way about it. But if you ask anyone about the Assassin's Creed trailer, I remember when I did my trailer review for Assassin's Creed,
Yeah,
and
the first one.
Yeah, the first one. I basically was honest. I was like, I don't know much about it. I was like, but I was kind of nervous about the weekend it was picking because I don't care how many people in the world love Assassin's Creed, but if you look down the line of video games based off movies, they don't do well in the box office, regardless of the love of the franchise. Because you are only going to make a movie for a franchise that is well known and has a lot of love. And if
Yeah.
you look at the two movies that did well, it was Warcraft and then Angry Birds.
Yeah.
It doesn't really say what Angry Birds caters to kids. Some kids probably didn't even play the video game to want to
Yeah.
see the movie. So I just kind of feel like I don't know. I think I hope it's good. That's it. That's all I have on Assassin's Creed officially. Oh yeah, back to my point. I completely missed my point. Star Wars. That coming out in the same weekend too. I feel
Is
like
it the same weekend? I thought Star Wars was a week early.
it's a week early, but
It's a week.
it's a week. And Star
Yeah.
Wars has legs. Like we've seen
Yeah.
what Force Awakens has done. Don't get me wrong. This is not an episodic episode or anything like that. It's not connected to the last
But don't
film,
get me wrong
technically.
either. I am beyond excited for this film, like more as much as I was for The Force Awakens, and that's as a fan of Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like I'm really excited to see this side story, and I'm excited to see something that's different that extends past just these trilogies of movies that we've had. You know, like The Force Awakens and Luke Skywalker and Anakin, like going through these timelines. Yes, it's great, but being able, besides watching the animated series of like the Clone Wars, being able to just take a step back and actually watch, a totally separate story that we've heard of but never seen.
So with confidence, you think that Assassin's Creed is going to beat Star Wars in its second week?
Oh,
that's the point I'm trying to make.
See,
I feel like Assassin's Creed is being a little bit too confident coming out with a December release. If they really wanted to pull their guns out and play it safe just to, do well, I think they should have came out in January. Now, I know January is a shit pile. I know that's when all the worst movies comes out. But if Assassin's Creed is that good, they could probably stand out of the bunch. Or maybe even
same as Deadpool, you know what I mean? February was planned to be a crappy month too. Deadpool was planned to be a flop, not a good film.
But
towards January, it started getting more traction. But I'm saying when people found out it was coming out in February, everybody thought this isn't going to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing with Deadpool. This is what they played, and this is why it did as well as it did. It played with the Valentine's Day couples. It was an unconventional love story. There was something for women and men to equally be into and get watch together. When I was in the theater, at least it seemed down the middle. It wasn't just like all dudes watching Deadpool. They just knew how to touch on both demographics and Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds or whatever.
Yeah.
But they knew exactly what they were doing, which is why I think that the second Deadpool, I don't know if it's going to do as good as the first one.
No, definitely. It's one of those movies that, once again, just like the difference between these two films is Deadpool was another film that nobody wanted to really sponsor, give to. I mean, it took 10 years before Ryan Reynolds got it into, like, he kept lobbying for it, and it was one of those films that didn't get a lot of money, but the marketing for that film was spent so wisely that it caused so much, it caused people to want to see the film. As to where Assassin's Creed, is it playing to any more minds than the gamers who play it?
Right. That's my problem. That's exactly what my problem is.
What are you putting in this film that causes not only superhero fans of Deadpool to be interested in Deadpool, but women to be interested in Ryan Reynolds, or Angry Birds, kids to be interested in Angry Birds along with parents?
I just think the minute people realize that this is based off a video game, it may put that, like, I'll wait till next week. Or they may just forget about it because they still didn't get to see Star Wars opening weekend. That's what I'm nervous about. Like, it's gonna really suck that the one good video game movie we get, no one watches, and then they can't make any more good ones, or who knows? I don't know. I just feel like it's a little bit all over the place for me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, though. We have to realize something also, because there's films that get critically acclaimed that then just boost up, and it's like, well, if every critic is saying this action film is great, which is very difficult because most of the time action films come out, such as Marvel and things like that. When those films come out, people are going to see it because it's Marvel. But then BVS comes out, people are going to go see that because it's another superhero film. But then let's take Planet of the Apes. Horrible critical reviews. Horrible. They were not good for that film with James Franco. But that film skyrocketed because of the interest of the public wanting to see it and the nostalgia of it. Another film that actually
I love Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
I didn't like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
I didn't, and I know there's another film coming out right now too. Of they're making another Planet of the Apes film. They just scheduled another War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but anyways, critics are everything to this film. I feel like critics are going to play a huge part, for one, and I also think that the idea of keeping, I almost wish they didn't put the Ubisoft symbol inside of the trailer, because I don't want people to be like, who's Ubisoft, and then go and find out it's a game. I feel like they should keep it as, but the thing is that if you keep that on the, people who are gamers already know what this film's about. Like, it's okay to keep that part on the down low, but if Ubisoft wants their name on it, then they want their name on it, the creators of the entire franchise. But like you said, everybody knowing that this is a video game movie is going to be difficult. Michael Fassbender is a part that can boost it because he's Michael Fassbender. He's been in X-Men. Gamers will go see this film because they're gamers, and if anybody's a gamer, the other issue that Assassin's Creed has, though, is this is the first year in 7 years that Assassin's Creed game hasn't been released. And instead, they're coming out with a film.
Oh, so that's do you think that works against it? I think that's pretty cool.
No. I'm saying that works. That was where I was shifting in my point, saying that can work with it, because we have people out here that are wondering, where's the Assassin's Creed? Why don't we have it? Because they spent this year working on Watch Dogs 2, Ubisoft's other video game that they're working on, that comes out this month, or in November, I think. But because of this, you're going to have gamers who want to see Assassin's Creed because they haven't gotten their dose of Assassin's Creed this year. So hopefully we can. I mean, there's a lot of gamers in the world, period. Like, there's a lot of people that are out there gaming.
It's true. It totally is true. But you look at video game sales and compare them to movie ticket sales, they don't add up. There's just, to me at least, that's just my only problem with it. And people are quick to defend it. I don't know. But
and once again, though, Assassin's Creed has been being released for 7 years. So whether people have been in the video game stage for that entire time or not, if they have at least heard of Assassin's Creed in the last 7 years, their interest may be piqued. So we're not just talking about sales right now. We're talking sales over the last 7 years and who's taken an interest in this game.
Yeah, I hope, man.
There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors at play. I know that. Against Star Wars, it's just going to be difficult no matter what. But if critics come out and they say this film is great, we've also never had such a critical rise in viewers in general for people who want to learn about movies. Go ahead.
Give me your box office number for the weekend when Assassin's Creed comes out. What's your number?
That's a difficult question. What's a high number for a box office weekend? A box office weekend would be like 170 million, right? Like, that would be huge.
It's pretty rare nowadays. I would say 120 million is probably the average, like, high. Big. I mean, the first Avengers did like 170 million, I think.
In the first weekend, though. Yeah. So that's what I was making sure. I just wanted to make sure I knew the cap. Man, I think they'd be great if they could. I know it's bad, but if they could get 25 million, I'd like to see that.
Oh, really? I think, because I feel like Rogue One, I don't think is going to do as good as Force Awakens. I see Rogue One making, I say, about 90 million.
Okay.
I don't know, but then the Darth Vader pull, that might be a little something, right?
There's
the Darth
a lot.
Vader pull. And I'll say 95 million for Rogue One, and then for Assassin's Creed, I'm gonna say 27.
Yeah, that's a good number. And you know what? If they get that number, they'll be happy. Let's be real. Like, if they get that number, they'll be happy about that. Because what this is also going to encourage, too, let's say the first weekend does get 27 million, 25 million. If this happens, look at Suicide Squad. That did have a good opening weekend. Don't get me wrong. It stayed at the top for 3 weeks thereafter. If they can get the longevity pulled out of this film that Deadpool did, because the reason that Deadpool grossed so much was because it was in theaters for 3 or 4 months. I was able to see that film still in theaters a month before it came out on DVD. So if Assassin's Creed can pull that, which they very much so could, going into January and February, it'd be very easy to continue that pull.
That's true.
You know what I mean? If no new movies are coming out that are any good, you can get all throughout January those viewers and basically keep them coming in because they want to see something, but nothing good has come out, but nobody's seen Assassin's Creed yet. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, okay, internationally, I think Assassin's Creed is gonna kick ass.
This is true because Star Wars, I mean, even though it's internationally known, like that type of movie is not internationally like enjoyed. But Assassin's Creed, which is, parkour, action, and this crazy story of like different, worlds basically colliding at like the future and the past. It's a huge thing internationally too. And video games.
Movies based off video games seem to do well internationally. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do right now is I want to see, because I know for a fact Warcraft didn't do well in the US, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, in the US, it only made 47 million
total.
It's Warcraft. It's been around what, 30 years? Maybe?
Yeah, forever. Right? It's been around for a long time. I don't know how long it's been around. I'm not going to act like I do.
And then if you look at foreign numbers, it crushed. It did foreign. It did $386 million.
Holy hell!
Yeah, and that's where I think that maybe where Assassin's Creed would do well, because you got to also think that when Assassin's Creed gets released, it's not gonna, that Friday that we see it, that's not the same time it's gonna release in China and everywhere else. That's if it gets released in China. I mean, I don't know how violent the movie is, but but yeah, so it really depends. If they drop Assassin's Creed internationally before Star Wars, it may have a really good chance to make its money back, but I don't feel domestically it's going to hit as hard. That's just where I think it's like, see,
but if it's successful,
China Warcraft in China did 220 million in China alone.
Just in China. Yeah.
Just in China.
Yeah, that's what they need to hope for. They need to hope that internationally this game gets, or movie, not game, but internationally this movie gets really recognized. And not only that, we're going to hope that America recognizes it too. And this is all still stemming off the fact if it's good, because if it's not good, look at The Raid. Like, there's usually higher expectations for certain films, like in certain areas, and for what they're trying to portray. Warcraft is a whole nother thing. I mean, no other video game film did as well as Warcraft internationally, because Warcraft is Warcraft. Like, people play that worldwide and love that video game, and people have been playing it for, like you said, years now. But Assassin's Creed, one thing you did mention that I am excited to see is the action in the film. The fighting choreography looks spectacular, especially where that one girl comes down and hits those two guys in a very fast, quick-paced manner. I was very happy with that because that's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see slow action within this very ninja-like assassin film. And when she came down and basically spun and hit both of them and the music hit on cue with her hitting them, I was like, man, if they can get all of their action scenes to be not only shot in that manner fast, but also shot in wide shot like that, and showing the action actually being that fast and not doing a bunch of 20 different cuts to get one hit, I think we'd be really happy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things things in this movie that I think they'll succeed in, but I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, I'm not very confident with the US release. Now, as per time, we are about to hit our 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, I didn't think this through. just so we could end this one off strong and quick, painless. What is the worst superhero movie to you?
To me, do you already have one in mind?
Nope,
Because I don't
I
either.
don't.
We're stemming off like from. I mean, I'm just gonna be real. I need to Google this because sometimes I'd be saying things and like not thinking of other things. Let me just look on my phone real quick and look at a list of superhero films, just because I want to be sure about when I say this that it's actually true.
Don't say Batman and Robin.
No, that doesn't count. That's a film that's too funny to
Yeah.
be as horrible as everybody else says it is. Um,
Oh man, I think I got mine.
oh yeah,
Yeah, but go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding, dude. I'm totally
Unbreakable. Oh
kidding,
my God, we would end
dude.
this, man. This would be the first and last podcast ever on the new channel.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know what? Okay, I used to love movies as a kid. I used to love film, and I never thought film was bad. I always thought film was good, like no matter what film I was watching. Well, I had my whole world crushed when I went to the movies in 6th grade by myself behind the apartments that I lived in, and I walked in to see Superman Returns.
What? That's the worst superhero movie you've ever seen?
Dude, I remember walking home being so let down by that film. I'm
Holy
sorry.
crap! Over Quest for Peace?
Okay,
Over.
okay, but the thing is I've never
All
seen
right, no, no,
Quest
no,
for.
no, no. It's cool. It's totally
Yeah,
cool, bro. No,
yeah,
I'm just shocked. That's all this is. I respect you, bro. It's
yeah.
totally
No,
cool. I'm just
yeah,
wow,
yeah. No, I'm
wow.
sorry, but to like, I'm thinking of like superheroes that I've actually enjoyed in comics, and then watched a film about them and been like, really, like,
Like
I've ne-
Origins? You think it's better than Origins? You think it's worse than Origins? Wolverine Origins?
look at Origins took a whole lot of risks, but the thing is that movie took risks. We look at Superman Returns, and the actor himself was absolutely horrible. Almost had his whole career ruined. Um, Everything about the character was completely cheesy. They were trying to rely way too much on the fact that this last movie came out was like in the 70s for Superman, and they were trying to rely on that fact. The love story between him and Lois Lane was absolutely terrible. There was no communication. There was nothing about them that was compassionate, and it actually had me driving for him being a successful person. The best scene in the entire film was the trailer that released for it, which was him stopping the airplane.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. This is me defending Superman Returns. Now, no, it is not. It is not one of the best movies. It's not any of that. I just don't think it's the worst. But hear me out, okay? All right.
Okay.
So Christopher Reeves was a great Superman, but he wasn't that good of an actor. He was just Superman. He played, it was kind of cheesy. It was cool. It worked for Christopher Reeves. Brandon Routh had that same like thing of Christopher Reeves had. Like for me, he worked because he just had that kind of like, I don't know how to say it. He just it felt at moments I felt like I was watching Christopher Reeves. I felt like they were acting the same way. Can I agree with you with Lois Lane? Terrible. She was awful. Like I hated the chemistry. I hated the stalking scene where he was in front of the house and he was looking through their home and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that was terrible. The fact that he didn't punch a single thing in the movie, all they had was a bunch of boot close-ups in Superman Returns. Don't get me wrong, but there was something nostalgic about it that I felt like it definitely was like, oh, Richard Dahmer, like this is for him. This is like, because it was a sequel to part 2 of Superman, correct? It was like,
yes,
right?
yes.
They completely Superman 3 and 4 never happened, and Superman Returns is when he comes back or whatever. But
Now, okay, wait a second though. There is something I would say. I actually really liked Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, and I was really sad that didn't get to get continued because I love Kevin Spacey almost as any villain.
See, but that's the thing that drives me crazy about everyone shitting on Jesse Eisenberg, because they both act the same exact way, in my opinion. Like I didn't really see much of it.
You know, I'd have to go back and watch the film to really judge it, but
Yeah.
I can definitely say, because I'm not lying, dude. When I say I watch a lot of superhero movies over and over again, I watched that movie maybe twice in my entire life because of how much I hated it.
Wow. 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 I
It
remember
just,
actually liking it and then growing to realize that it wasn't very good. I didn't
yeah.
hate it.
I remember walking home and calling my parents upset about spending their money for seeing that film. Walking home,
Holy
like
hell.
I was so let down. It was
Oh
bad.
man. I mean, wow. I mean, yeah, I respect it. I'm going a completely different way with this, just to be straight with you. One
Mhm.
of the worst ones I've seen was the Chung Li movie. Well, that's not really superhero. No, that's video game. Okay, I take it back.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen, other than Catwoman, 'cause I thought Catwoman was terrible. Like
Catwoman's pretty bad, but at the same thing, at like the same time, like Halle Berry's personality kind of helps with that, but still the writing for the film.
I thought the Dutch angles, the villain Sharon Stone was playing Sharon Stone, but the worst superhero movie I think I've ever seen, only because I watched it recently and literally it hurt me, was Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh man, yeah, that's it's pretty bad.
That movie's horrible. Like it is really like I don't understand how you can have such like if you really think about it, Ninja Turtles has a really good set of villains. Like they have some really cool
Mhm.
villains.
Yeah,
You
they do.
know, Bebop, Rocksteady, and Crane. Which I'll be honest with you, a lot of people hated the new Ninja Turtles movie, but if you really watch it like a cartoon, like you did when you were a kid, it
Yeah.
actually works pretty well. Other than
And
the
that's what I think
ending.
they were intending for. Like, we look at all the trailers. Like, when are you ever going to see a tank in the water shooting cannons at four turtles? Like,
That scene made no sense. It didn't. I don't
mm,
know where that scene came from. I don't know why they ended up on a plane. I don't. I don't know why Bebop and Rocksteady were over there to begin with. I don't know what the hell that was about, but it was cool because it was kind of like, yep, I've seen this before. This is classic to it. They shoehorned the hell that shoehorned that in there. But if I really had to go back to anything Ninja Turtles, nothing ever made sense. So I was just
yeah,
like, I'm not gonna really get hold it accountable. But I will tell you, like the last 15 minutes, I almost fell asleep. I because you know that typical New York ending with the beam in the sky and then like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like okay, I've seen this 1,000 times this year, so yeah, I can probably go to sleep right now. And yeah, that was fun for what it was, but I'll never see it again. Um, but yeah, Ninja Turtles 3, the voice acting was horrible. The suits were terrible.
Mm,
Fun fact, Jim Henson did the suits for the original Ninja Turtles film, which
mm,
were phenomenal. It was
yeah,
amazing, beautifully done.
yeah.
And the reason why the Henson company didn't come back is because they didn't like the fact that they were using weapons. And I'm just like, did you know what the hell you signed up for when you signed up for the
Mm,
Ninja Turtles?
yeah, that's kind
Um,
of,
yeah, kind of dumb. But
yeah,
the third one where they go into they have like this weird bootleg Shredder. He's not even Shredder. It was like this random white guy. But
yeah.
anyways, but yeah, I thought that was like one of the worst. One of the people say Spawn is one of the worst films ever. I
That's,
I don't
I don't
agree
know
with
about that
that.
one.
I think that's one of John Leguizamo's best roles. I thought they did Spawn justice. The effects are terrible,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I don't
For
think it
any
was
low
that bad.
budget film from that time, all the effects were always terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be like trying to make Deadpool back then when nobody cared about it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what's it called? Question though, real quick before we get off. Did you see any movies this weekend? I didn't see you post any reviews. I was just wondering.
Are you trying to put me in the spot right now? You know I can't talk about this stuff on here.
I'm
Well, no,
just asking because I seen a movie and I didn't post a review, so I thought maybe the same thing happened to you.
I was looking forward to watching The Accountant, but I just wasn't ready. If that makes any sense. I was
That's
kind
totally
of like,
fine.
yeah, I
That's
was
totally
like,
fine.
it's like you know what, not right now, because I wanted to just get all the videos I have ready for my channel. I was like, let me just focus on that. But what's today? Tuesday, Thursday. I will be watching Ouija. I will be watching 31 with Rob Zombie. I will be watching. Yeah, I'll be watching a lot of movies. I'll be reviewing a lot of movies. Shouldn't be talking about this, but I'm gonna be reviewing them, and I'm going to have them ready for like during the week. Each day I'm gonna post something, but It
Yeah.
depends, because I definitely want the first video I post to be a secret video I'm working on. So
Yeah. I watched The Accountant, and Ben Affleck, that man, is slowly becoming more of a crush of mine with each of his films. Ever since The Town, guys, man, he's just been on a roll.
yeah.
He's been pretty good.
Well, I will say that I love Ben Affleck. I've always loved Ben Affleck. I wasn't a fan of Reindeer Games. I just think that he's at this time in his career that he can't do any wrong, even if he does. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's slowly getting that bulletproof thing to his career, where it's kind of like, if you're gonna make a few mistakes, it's okay. Like, we're not
Yeah.
gonna hold you to it. From my understanding, from what I've heard, I'll be honest with you, and I've said this before, I hate Anna Kendrick, bro. I don't see the big deal about Anna Kendrick. I don't hate her. That's the
She's
thing about
hot. She's really hot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I heard
No,
she's
she's cute. I do like her. I see her as more of a cute person rather than I see her as like, I wouldn't like drop dead in my tracks and fall over like I would for, Jennifer Aniston for her, but I'd still think she was pretty.
but she just, when I see her in the trailer, it's like, what are you doing in this movie? It's like, you
Uh,
should be doing something else. Like, because I
Go
like
ahead.
I like I like Emily Blunt. Although, as much as I like Sicario, I felt like she was very like,
Misplaced.
yeah, there was something about it where she just
She was great in Edge of Tomorrow. She
oh,
was
she was
fantastic.
amazing in Edge of Tomorrow. I loved her in Edge of Tomorrow. That's when I was like, okay, now I love her. I loved her in 10-Year Engagement, even though that movie's like long as hell. I still
Yeah.
kind of liked her in that. But yeah.
What else? Anyways, The Accountant though, real quick. Um, Ben Affleck did very well in making himself believable as this character, because he is a kid with autism in the film. I don't know. I feel like people should know that from the trailer, but just in case you don't, I'm sorry for spoiling it. But he has autism, and he wears that character very well. They did a very good flashback mechanic about teaching you about his life. Action in that film. Okay, so I recently got very upset when I found out the entire like warehouse scene from BVS, Batman versus Superman, was not Ben Affleck mostly. It was mostly the stunt double.
Yeah.
And I was super upset because I was like, man, that really sucks. I would find it hard if I ever got cast as a superhero to not be in every scene. Like, I would want to learn how to fight. I would want to learn to do things. And I understand like this whole thing about we don't want you to get hurt and all that, but still, like, I'd want to do the most. Anyways, I got kind of hurt, but he totally made up for it in this film. The action choreography for this film was amazing. Every scene that came in, it was really nice to see Ben Affleck in action constantly without a mask on and seeing like the things that he would do to people. Very interesting, like different fighting mechanics. His story itself was very good, and I thought Anna Kendrick fit in this film. They didn't have her in the entire thing. That's the thing too. Like, it's also how much are you utilizing the characters you're putting in the film. And I think Anna Kendrick is a very good person to utilize in a film very quickly. You know what I mean? Like, to put her in for a snippet, like, she was probably in 20 to 30 minutes total of the entire film, and the film's 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like, to put her in for that amount, she gives good reasoning for why she's there. Also, big surprise to me, because I didn't IMDb this film, and I didn't see anything else besides the first trailer that came out for it. But I was very surprised when I found out, gosh, what the heck is the Punisher's name? The actor?
Oh, Berthnell.
John Bernthal. There it is.
Yeah, that guy.
So John Bernthal was in this film, and he surprised the hell out of me in this film. He plays a very different type of character that I haven't seen him play. You know, he's not playing the shaved head, like kind of junk, like even in Wolf of Wall Street, like he was like a beast. Like in this film, he's a beast. Like, he's a good character, but he played like almost like a young kid. And it was really cool. Like, he grew out his hair. His hair was really long. I don't know if it was a hairpiece, but even like his clothes he wore, he was either in a suit or like some Nikes and like a pea coat with like some beats around his neck. And I was like, what the heck? He also changed the tone of his voice. When you first get introduced to him, it's not like the deep John Bernthal voice that we all know, you know, where he's really talking low most of the time because that's how his voice is. But he was talking like high pitched, and like he was like, I don't think you understand what I'm trying to say here. Like, And it was very interesting to see him play this character because I don't know. I loved him in this film. That voice did start fading towards the end. I felt like he was almost reverting back to that lower voice, but I really liked him in this film. I liked everybody in this film. I had a good time. Even I was not okay with certain things like that were happening during the film, but then when they go to tie the knot to like finish off those things and tie off the strings, I was like, oh, I'm okay with it now. You know what I mean?
Oh, I guess I'll watch it because I'm not this guy. The guy who plays Punisher, like he literally came out of nowhere. Like I remember in Walking Dead, he was very good at making you hate him. And he did a lot of this. You know, he was always rubbing his head. And
yeah, he does a lot of them.
He does a lot of like you know.
He also did in Fury. He did the same thing. Like he was very much slow. They did that for one scene, but also his characters all.
I wish you never brought up Fury.
You don't like Fury?
I hate Fury.
Oh my!
I hate that movie so much,
dude.
You know, my problem with Fury is that it's so tacky. It's like it wants to be this dramatic war movie with this really deep story, and then there's just like these blue laser bullets and then slow motion shots of legs getting cut off. It's not Rambo. This is an army movie. It was so stuck on trying to be cool that it forgot what it was supposed to be. I thought Shia LaBeouf was amazing in it. I thought Shia LaBeouf, he stood out to me. Are you okay there, Sam?
My heart hurts right now. Like I'm so broken by the way you feel about this film.
The ending was cool when they were all getting because come on, they weren't likable characters. They even like insinuated that they were gonna rape this girl. It was just I don't know. It just a lot of it was just it was too tacky for me. I just felt like it was just I don't know.
You have just brought up your Star Trek Beyond. You have no idea. Oh my gosh, you have literally like took my heart and squished it in your hands right now, Trail.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just it doesn't do it for me. Like remember, it kind of reminded me like in American Sniper, which is another movie where I didn't know how to feel about. But that in the ending when they finally get that one guy and then they slow motion bullet time the bullet to kill the terrorist, I was like, really. This is not that kind of movie. I don't know. I just think that's why like when people were just so hype about David Ayer doing Suicide Squad, I was like, I mean, he's fine, I guess. He's good at gritty, so I guess it'll work. But I don't know. There was just something about it that just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't feel for it. There was even like the scene with the rubble when the building explodes, but the girl is just like easily to be found and she's just laying there. I was like, really? I don't know. It was just a lot of just like, oh god, that's silly. Oh, why did they do that? It was just a lot of bad decisions. I guess it's not a bad movie, but just a lot of bad decisions that I couldn't get behind, that I felt like were misplaced, tacky, and yeah, that's. I'm sorry. God. I'm sorry. I just don't see the hype for that movie whatsoever.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I'm just a big Saving Private Ryan fan. I don't know.
I'm a big Saving Private Ryan fan too.
What else? I don't know what other war movies are. I love Inglourious Bastards with all my heart. That movie almost made me cheer in the theater. It was so much fun. Yeah. Oh, fun fact about. Did I tell you that fun fact about Inglourious Bastards?
I don't know if I care.
Well, you know that scene where Eli Roth, he like walks through the tunnel, and then you're supposed to be like, "Who's this? Who's this?" And then it's Eli Roth, and you're just like, "Who cares? Who cares?" It's Eli Roth. Do you know who was supposed to walk out of that tunnel?
Who?
Adam Sandler. That would have been amazing. Oh
my gosh, that would have been the coolest thing ever that Quentin Tarantino could have done.
It would have been like, look, Adam Sandler, we'll forgive you for all the bad shit you've been putting us through. But that would have been so dope. That when it comes to Adam Sandler taking a role serious, one. And
dude, Reign Over Me is one of my favorite films with him and Don Cheadle. Oh my gosh. He totally broke typecasting with me forever once I seen that film. I am forever wanting another Reign Over Me type film from Adam Sandler.
Did you see Punch Drunk Love?
No, I haven't.
where he
But
plays the awkward
before
little
we move
brother.
on from the fact that you just destroyed my world,
Sorry.
let me just state why a little bit before we sign off. Why I
Okay.
like this film.
Well, good luck, because I'm not gonna
Uh,
convince me.
I'm not going to convince you that's not my thing, but at the same time, since you represented your side of hate,
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
feel
know,
like
I know.
it's still my duty to represent the side of why I love this film. And I'm not lying. This is one of my top, like, of all time. Like, I love this film. Like, it's in my top list. The reason I love this film is because we gotta let we I love the stories of crewmates. I love the story of like squads working together. Saving Private Ryan, Inglorious Bastards. Both of those films, squads working together, and it shows us this really cool bond that happens between them within the army. What I liked about this film was these people. Uh, for me, they didn't get along. They didn't
Yeah,
like each other. And I
yeah,
liked that. I liked that a lot. And because some people will take that like they took this movie Before We Go, which was a romance that these people didn't have any chemistry. They didn't. That was the point of the film. And that's what the point of this film was. They weren't supposed to have chemistry because no matter what the chemistry was, it didn't matter because they just had to save each other's lives. That's all that mattered to them in the war. People were being sent to the war all the time. And freaking Jonah Ledesma, is that his name? Joe something, the guy that was in Percy Jackson movies, the guy who plays the new
oh yeah,
crewmate.
yeah, yeah. Which
Um,
he's good in it too, I think.
yeah, this kid who gets pulled out of accounting to sit inside of a tank, and his first thing to do when he's been sitting around a desk his entire life is clean up a guy's face off of the tank so he can sit in his spot. This is shocking in taking away his entire world. Brad Pitt, I don't know what it is, but this guy has an obsession with killing Nazis. He's even in a new film coming out about his wife. Supposedly being working for the Nazis. Anyways, when he shows up and he's everything that I see as my grandpa too, so that also helps because my grandpa was a drill sergeant in the Marines, and I grew up with him. And when I see this character come out and he's not caring about the casualties that are around him, like he just lost a crewmate that he was with for years. And he was very much so like, we got to get back. Yeah, he's dead, all this. And then when he walks away from his crew and gets behind a tank and just loses it for a second, I just remember my entire heart being invested in that character immediately because I could understand what he was going through because I grew up with my grandpa and hearing his stories. Um, dude, and then the journey of that tank team, I liked how there wasn't chemistry. It added to the feel of the entire war, and it gave us a different perspective on the war. We're always seeing things like Saving Private Ryan. We're seeing things like Inglorious Bastards where people are able to roam around. The thing about a tank, you're stuck. You are screwed. If anything happens to the tank, even getting out is a bad decision because once you get out, you're getting shot. There's nothing you can do. And it's terrifying because it's just you and your crew. And if one person within that tank fails, it can mean the end of all of you. And I felt like they caught that really well, which is why they didn't have chemistry because they were constantly pissed at each other for messing up or not doing something right. And you have this leader who's trying to hold them all together, which is a dysfunctional family that doesn't want to work together because they don't want to be here. None of them do. And yeah, they become characters that are jerks. The only people that you care about are Brad Pitt and Jonah Ledesma. Even Shia LaBeouf, you care about him, but because of his ending monologue more than anything. But Shia LaBeouf, John Bernthal, and Pena, all of them, you're like whatever about them. You don't care about them because they are jerks. They basically talk about bringing a girl into their tank and having sex with her. Then they ruin the
Yep.
best. Then
Yep.
they ruin the best thing in the entire movie, which is probably the scene where he's talking to the girls and Jonah goes into the room and has sex with her and like all these things.
Yep. That's exactly what I was talking about. But go ahead.
So so I understand, but I felt like they weren't trying. For me, I didn't feel like they were trying to be cool. I felt like they were trying to show you the horrors of what happened over there because there were so many men that came back that never spoke about the war again. And they were trying to show the wrong things they did besides the fact of like their buddies dying, because that's what other films have usually. They usually always single out the other side as the only bad guys, acting as if the Americans were always good. And I liked the fact that they showed like that humans are conflicted within themselves and that things did happen that they aren't proud of.
But would you like? Do you feel like any of those characters had any type of moral compass at all? You feel like they had anything? Like I felt like I just didn't. I don't know. Like I didn't even care when they died. I just didn't.
Oh man, I
I
was
just
destroyed.
you were. I couldn't care about it. Like I really wanted to, and it was just like I don't know. I guess the way they handle their point of view, and I felt like they would have harnessed on one character dealing with those demons of seeing. I don't know. I don't know if
Now,
Brad Pitt was even like the main character. Like I don't even know who was. I guess the
yeah.
whole crew was, but it was
Well,
just,
the title of the movie was Fury. I think all of them,
which
like
is
you
the name
said.
of the tank, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Which
Okay.
yes, and so the thing is that the way that they tried to evoke emotion into you wasn't through the character themselves. When you watch this film, they're trying to evoke it through the characters around them for another character. Shia LaBeouf is the person that I would say had a moral compass throughout the entire film. Yes, he drank, but he didn't have sex with any girls. He got offended when Brad Pitt was hurt because he was hurt because he feels like he's a good guy, and now Brad Pitt's like showing pleasure to this other kid. Shia LaBeouf is also somebody who wants to see everybody go to heaven, and he is being torn apart by everybody that's dying around him because it hurts him, especially when John Bernthal dies, the first character to die within the tank. He jumps on top of him, jumps out like from his position so that he can ask him to, will you say like the prayer with me? Will you say it? But he's already dead. And that's where I got emotion evoked. Yeah, John Bernthal was a jerk, but then you also had the scene right before he died where he actually apologized to the kid he was being a jerk to the whole time. Because the thing is that all these characters abandoned their moral compass and abandoned their moral code because they couldn't fight this war unless they did. Because they didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be stuck in the situation. And they felt like the only way to deal with their actions and deal with what they were doing to people, not just them, but everyone, because you remember seeing that scene where they actually all punished the Nazi in front of all of them at the beginning of the film where they made Jonah Ledesma kill the guy. All of them were standing there watching that. And if we're going to act like that type of stuff didn't happen when people surrendered, we're lying to ourselves. And that's what I liked. This film was showing us a raw example of the situations that were happening. Yeah, America did go over there and basically help save the world, essentially, from what could have happened if Hitler continued ruling. But we weren't angels for that. You know what I mean? There were things that happened, and I'm not one of those people that likes to sit on one perspective and say that all of America is good because we do mess up. And
No,
we do. No, I'm not saying you do, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just saying in general, I liked the perspective of showing that off. And I liked the way that they tried to show it. And each person's death to me affected me in that film. When he got hit, I felt it through Shia LaBeouf. When Pena died, it was really cool because, they all kind of hated the kid. They didn't want him there, not because they didn't like him, but because they lost their buddy and they knew that's who he was replacing. And then, when that grenade lands in the tank and Pena grabs it and puts it into his stomach and kills himself, like, I was sitting there like, man, these people don't care about anything besides saving each other because that's all they know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
I found that a little bit. I found that whole part a little bit random. I don't know. Maybe I got to watch it again, but it felt kind of it you know what I'm thinking right now? It kind of reminded me, that moment reminded me of El Diablo and Suicide Squad. Like, we're family now. I'm like, my man, you guys fucking hate each other this whole time. All of a sudden, you're family. And then immediately he does that. And I'm just like, it just doesn't seem like you're that kind of person. But okay, fine.
but at the same time, you could also take it to another section where he wasn't just trying to save Jonah Ledesma, but he's trying to save the guys that are in the back, Shia LaBeouf and Brad Pitt, because I can't decide what that scene was about because he looked at the grenade, he looked at Jonah Ledesma, and he was like, this kid is not going to grab that grenade. And he thought it could be an act of pure, like, I'm doing this because nobody else will. That's the only reason I did this. You know what I mean? And that sucks because either way, if that grenade stayed right there, they were both going to die. And
That's
that's
what
the
I'm
way.
saying, though. I think it would have been more of character if the bomb would have just went off and no one stopped it. Because you have the kid being terrified. You have this guy who, I don't know. I think it would have been more character. It would have made more sense if no one did it. And then just have their ears ringing and see who survived it. That's kind of like what, because there were just moments that were just out of character of the character they sold us, and that was throwing me off. It was the stylistically, I couldn't get behind it because it was really, really trying to sell this very, like you're saying, raw, emotional, gripping story, but with all of these like like, oh, this will look badass if we just put this machine gun in this guy's leg and you see it getting chopped off. It didn't seem like, oh, we're gonna do it because this is real. This is how it's gonna look. Like there are things that happen in Saving Private Ryan that the way it was shot just felt like, oh my god, kill that
Like,
guy.
yeah, one of the
He,
scenes
like,
that steered into my head is when they're on the beach of Normandy and the guy lost his arm. And
yeah,
he's like walking around like it's nothing, and then like picks up his arm and walks back over and sits down. I totally can see where you're coming from. I'm not objecting to the fact that you're
Yeah.
not telling the truth. But the thing to me is that this film actually gave us a more raw perspective of the way that men can act during war and have no filter and basically no moral code, because that's what these men felt they had to do. And that's the thing too, though, is, I mean,
it's definitely one of a kind. It's definitely
I think it is
you can't
definitely, like you
compare
said,
yeah.
it's a film of taste, and there's
Yeah.
gonna be people who like it and people who hate it. And for me, it's very hard to find a middle ground with that film, just to be like, oh, I'm okay with it, because everybody I've spoken to about it either feels that it's great, and you're the first person I've came across that thought it was horrible.
I know.
Well,
No, I don't want to say horrible. I just think what ends up happening is that when you see a movie that's just so middle of the road, and then you hear like so many people constantly tell you I've been since that movie released, bro. Everyone's been telling me I'm nuts, and I've just grown to just pull out only the reasons why I hate it, because I need to defend why I feel that way. That I you end up growing to hate something. So just eventually I just kind of got like, I was just tired of hearing it.
no, totally. Yeah, I totally get it.
That was it. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's there's just certain, I'm trying to think of what other war movies I've seen, like Platoon. I love Platoon. You don't like Platoon?
No, I don't even know. I was trying to think of all the war movies I've seen.
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket's beginning is spectacular. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did not care for the middle to the end. Like halfway through the middle to the end,
Yeah,
I stopped caring.
I could get that. Well, it's not a war movie, but a movie that I love, and you know this. It's not technically a war movie, but Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good Morning Vietnam was one of those movies that, to this day, when I watch it, that just the music that they use in that movie and how they use it, the pacing of it. Oh yeah,
I love this film. Like, absolutely adore The Patriot. I used to watch this every night before I went to bed, basically my entire senior year.
What's funny is like I never actually loved it, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was like, okay, it's good, it's fine.
Mm.
Then as I got older, I don't know. I tried watching it again. I didn't like Braveheart. To me, I watch one, even though it's, it's Mel Gibson, but yeah. Anyways, man, this is an interesting one.
Yeah,
I did not know you love Fury. I'm sorry if I offended you.
No, it's all right. You didn't hurt my feelings, not that much.
So this weekend, what are you gonna watch?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what's coming out. I don't even know what's coming. I know Ouija's coming out, but I have no willing. There's certain movies that come out.
Oh, Jack Reacher.
Oh shoot. The thing is like, do I really want to watch another Tom Cruise film and be like doing another average review?
Yeah.
Like, not saying like I'm not saying the thing is that the way I feel about Jack Reacher is like I'm very particular because I can only watch one film a weekend and I have to be smart with the film I watch. And this is kind of wrong, but in the way, like, I hope I go and get surprised when I expect to go see a bad film, and then, like, it's good. Because you need range on your channel, like, no matter what. You need to see, like, films that are bad and films that are good. Because if you're just rating every film good, like, or just rating every film bad, people are going to start, like, being like, where's, but that's kind of the struggle when you can only see one a week, and you're kind of hoping, like, when you go and see this film, that I hope it's good. I never want to walk into a film and be like, it's bad, but judging by the other films that come out this week, this film looks like it might be the worst.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
2016 has felt like that, where I've kind of just been like, oh, this is the one. And then I'm sitting in front of the camera, like, here I am shitting on another movie again.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun and all sometimes, but man.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It is fun to crap on film. Like,
every now and then, but.
Oh my gosh. Should I go see this?
What?
Boo Medea Halloween. Oh my gosh.
Well, there's the thing. I am gonna watch it because a lot of YouTubers are in it. So I just want to see what kind of train wreck comes out of this. So
Dude,
I
I'm not trying to be mean, but most YouTubers and Viners that are making it into film just because they're YouTubers and Viners are pissing me off. Like,
yeah.
I'm just being real because most of them can't act. And like, I'll tell you something, they're hilarious, some of them on their YouTube channels. But then you put them in a comedy film and you're just like,
It's a completely different element, and they
yeah.
should, like, I feel like a lot of them they could eventually get there. They just probably have to do their own thing first, make their own comedy skit movie before they jump into that. But
Yeah. Smart place to do that is definitely YouTube Red, where they're getting their own shows and things like that. Because nobody expects anything else besides those characters being those characters most of the time. But it's either gonna, I don't know yet. I'll let it be a surprise, and when I get to the theaters, I'll just pick one because they all come out at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. on Thursday. I'll just go to the theater and I'll close my eyes and I'll touch the screen and whatever pops up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you're gonna see Ouija, and then you're gonna see. You have expectations for Ouija, or you kind of like whatever?
Well,
because I hated the first film with a passion.
The first film had nothing to do with Ouija. It was like 5 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
For this one, I'm looking forward to it because I feel like they know that they understand that they missed an opportunity with the first film. And as much as I don't like origin films, this is them using the word origin in the title is just them saying we messed up. We're gonna make the right movie we meant to make. That's pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah.
Origin of Evil. I was like, that's such a title, but I feel like they might do it right this time.
I'm hoping. It all depends on that child actress. She looks great in the trailers, but once again, this is a film that released like 3 or 4 trailers.
Those child actors that are in these horror movies are all forgettable. Like,
yeah,
any of their names. They're just there for like being the creepy kid and making demonic sounds and voices, and they're all the same. You could put anyone in that role. I don't care. I honestly just forget them completely. I really just.
But the one in this film is carrying the movie, so it's not something you're gonna have to forget. You're gonna have to pay attention to her.
I just yawned to that. Really quick. Oh shit, we're running out of time. We already ran out of time. Really quick. Okay.
Last thing.
Did you see Lights Out?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't get to review it. I just saw it like a few days ago.
What'd you think?
I feel like not bad. Original. Kind of. Because I kind of feel like I seen that movie Darkness Falls with the Tooth Fairy. It was kind of the same idea.
In a sense. Yeah, in a
sense, it was the same idea. But the backstory, the reason that she's in her conscious and all, I was like, oh, this is great. I just feel like they didn't take this idea and take it as far as they could have. I felt like it became too contained too quick. They were staying in the house so nonchalant after a while that I was kind of like, what are you even doing there? That I was kind of like, I felt like after about halfway through the movie, I kind of felt like this was getting redundant and ridiculous, and I just wasn't buying into it. The way they killed off the character, like the reason why the whole ending happens, I was like into it. I just felt like the way they did it was abrupt, and I just felt like they could have used a little bit more. It could have been timed a little bit better. I like the fact that she would kill anyone. Like the police officers that were there, and she was just like, that doesn't change. I'm not going to be sneaky. I've been out in the open, so I'm going to be out in the open. So it was like, okay. Yeah. There were a lot of, they handled her really well, but what I couldn't help but think, like, they should have been a little bit more self-aware and probably had just a tad bit fun with it, just a little bit. Like, I was thinking to myself, and this may be over the top, I'm gonna admit it, but I was thinking, how crazy would it have been if they were just kind of like, look, we're not going into the house anymore, and we're gonna come up with a plan. This thing is in your conscious, it's gonna follow you everywhere. So let's go to a place that has a lot of lights. If you know what, we're not even gonna drive you there just in case it gets dark in the car. Why don't you just meet us at a baseball game or something? Go to like a stadium, right? Let's say the stadium, right? All lights go out and they're just people flying left and right and they're trying to run away from this thing.
Dang.
Like, that would have been like so much fun, like for them to really
go for it.
For it, So I thought
This
that
was
would
also the thing is though is like this was also a low budget film that the
yeah
director
5 million.
wanted to take on
Yeah, Blumhouse.
because the reason was because he actually saw a Facebook video and he actually took the rights to the movie from a guy who posted this video on Facebook in 2010. Like, I really liked the film for what it was. I had a really good time with it. I was laughing a lot, which I didn't expect to do. Now, I was laughing in the right way though. Like I always love I can't remember his name right now, but who's the director? The guy who did Insidious and Sinister, not
You're
Sinister.
talking about Juan?
Yeah,
James Wan?
Wong. I know you're talking. That's the director. This guy does so well in getting you to be like, what is that? Oh shoot! Like he gets you very invested into looking into a certain scene to where you're almost like squinting and you're trying to see something and then jumping out at you. So he gets that jump scare at you, but then he does so well with his writing that he brings in comic relief that is just so good. Like I don't know about your you didn't see it in theaters, but I seen it in theaters. And when the boyfriend was the only guy like dealing with the monster, that entire scene was filled with laughs and claps the entire time in my theater.
Yeah,
Because it was hilarious. It was, he has a flashlight, gets knocked out of his hand. The chick's coming at him, and like what everybody always thinks in every single film, pull out your phone. Like
yeah.
he pulls it out, and like everybody was like, "Yeah, he did it!" Like, yeah. And then, but it was funny because he didn't turn on his flashlight. He just turned on the screen, and that locks. And then the screen locks, and then he gets hit. And I was like, "Oh, hilarious!" And then he runs outside to the car, and as he's running, he goes right under the pillar into the darkness and gets clotheslined. And I was like, "That was priceless."
Yeah.
And then he turns on the lights to the car, and you're like, "Okay, it's a reasonable situation for him to get away." And then it flashes over to the kid, and it's like, "Is he leaving us?" No, he wouldn't do that. And like he's driving off. Like
yeah.
You're thinking
that
in
was
your head,
really cool. I really like that too. That was really cool.
And then they did a good jump scare with her downstairs in the black light when they were going over the wigs. I was like,
that was great. I saw it coming, but I was just like, this is gonna be good. Like I'm gonna be okay. I love that concept. Oh, that's another thing. The whole idea of like you can see her in the black light and it won't affect her. Like that whole so good. It's so well thought. I love shit like that. Love it so much.
The father in the movie at the very beginning was great too. When he first got introduced, it was like a little bit of a comic relief because it was hilarious. He's walking throughout his factory, he's la-di-da, then looks down and he's like, "There's somebody sitting there," and he's like, "Hello?" And then the lights go out, and then like he waves them back on, and she's closer, and he goes, "Okay."
Yeah, but what's funny though is that immediately he was just like, "I know the weakness. I'm gonna get the hell out of here." So I was like, I was down with that. My only thing is that if she was working through through her conscious, can she really go that far? Is there kind of like a Bluetooth radius of how far you can be from a person? Yeah, I was kind of like.
Because then she was at like the daughter's house and like things. It seems like she was sticking to the bloodline more than anything of like. But the thing is like the father is not in the bloodline technically.
So that was kind of a reach for me. And I just kind of I don't know. I kind of like the whole idea where she's trying to control her because she wanted to just watch a movie, and I just found it really creepy. And then the part where she's like in the room and you see like her skirt get tugged, I was like, that is terrifying. Like that was horrifying. I thought that whole scene was.
There was definitely some imagery where you were sitting there like, And there was also very good avoidance of cliches, like the candles going out. I really liked how the candles didn't go out for most of the film. Like they were always on, and like they didn't just get blown out or something. And I was very happy about that because I was like, good, avoid cliches. In fact, play with the cliches so we think it's going to happen, and then you totally fool us. Like. I really liked that stuff. I enjoyed the film. It was a solid. Like I'd watch it again, 3 eyes straight up. Like that's my rating.
Yeah. I probably would love to watch it with someone else and see what they think. But I really do think that they need to come up with a second one. I don't know how well it did, but they need to just like. I mean, I don't know what they would do for a sequel.
It's a horror movie, dude. Every horror movie does well.
They'll figure it out.
It's the worst.
They'll figure it out. I think, but I would love to see it. I would really love to see a sequel and them really. Because they got so much good shit working for them. They really
did. They had a good character. I did feel the same way about the ending and the conclusion. About the whole, I felt like it was very quick, which I understand that idea of it being quick because you don't want to have enough time to think about it, to think of something else. But it it just come off as like I felt like it should have been stronger. Like I felt like I should have had more of an emotional pull to be torn apart.
Yeah, like I felt like the daughter, they after finding out that her mom actually wasn't crazy, I felt like they need to sell on the fact that she was feeling a lot more guilty for calling her mom a psychopath. Because of what happened with her is that she she buried that memory in her head. She
Yeah,
like you remember like she experienced like the
that same
fact
thing.
that same thing, but it happened so long ago that she kind of just seen it kind of a thing that
It's
it
almost
was
one
in
of
her
those things
head.
that you bury and you try to convince yourself it was a lie and you never seen it at all.
Yeah, and then when they played on that, and then when she gets into the room, and you see that she's really just trying to fuck with her straight up and not try to kill her, it was
Mm,
just kind of just like I want you out. I don't know what to do with you, but it's just like I don't want you taking her away from me. Like this whole obsession thing. Like she's
mm,
just like I'm only keeping you alive because she keeps telling me. They were like kind of messing with each other.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was just like, I bought into all that. I just wish that I
yeah,
just think that that ending could a little because it was funny through the whole movie. I didn't really think about, oh, you could have killed yourself until that exact moment. I was like,
yeah,
oh, word, like that would actually make a lot of sense. And
yeah.
yeah,
Chemistry in the film was really good too.
yeah,
I felt like
absolutely.
all these characters actually cared about each other, and the mom at first was too much, but throughout the film, you get a little bit more used to her and start understanding her. And then at the very, I absolutely loved the chemistry between the boyfriend and the girlfriend. Like they were great.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that part. I think the kid was pretty good in it too. I like the whole idea of him losing sleep, but I kind of wish that he was a little bit more vocal about what was going on, but he wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
but
that's
he
like
had some good
that's a
creepy
nit.
scenes too. Like he's
Yeah.
also a kid, like you said, like but that creepy scene where like the mom turns off all the lights and they're watching a movie together, and
Oh
like
man, that scene was amazing.
I was like, oh no, like mom, you'd be getting socked
Yeah.
really quick.
Okay, one last thing. I promise you. I just need to tell you this. I'm just gonna recommend something to you right now. I'm watching a lot of documentaries lately
Mhm.
because I usually spend most of my year watching them. I just watched the documentary called Tickled.
Okay,
It's about a tickling tournament. No, and they like it's a journalist. He investigates
is
this
this on
whole tick.
Netflix?
No, I had to buy the movie, but basically it's a tickling league, and this journalist wants to know more about it, so he contacts this company called Jane O'Brien and like, hey, I'm really interested in knowing more about your tickle league, so, and I have some questions, I would like to talk about it. They threaten him, they're like, no, mind your business, we don't like homosexuals coming into our thing, like this crazy thing. And he ends up being like a little bit like, you know what, now I'm a little bit intrigued, I would like to know a little bit more about what this
Well,
is about.
now you definitely got my interest.
Yeah, like now you definitely got my interest. So he ends up investigating, and the shit that he finds out, bro, there's literally this is real life stuff. You look it up, this is real stuff. He
Yeah,
keeps digging deeper and deeper, and as everything's like unraveling, I was like, it becomes almost like a horror movie. It's like this can't be real. It is crazy. That's all I'm
dude,
gonna say.
where'd you
Watch
get
it.
it on? What'd you get it on?
Um, I'll send it to you. I'll send you a link so you can watch it.
Okay, cool.
Because I have it. I purchased it, so you can have my copy.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
but
I
yeah.
really now you got me interested. Now I'm sitting here like, okay, well, it looks like I'm staying up till 3 a.m. my time. Like, I'm gonna
Also,
do my homework right now, and then I'm gonna put on a documentary called Tickled, and I'm gonna get tickled my fancy.
dude, I'm telling you, it is really well done.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to send you another link for a movie. I gotta stop, but it's called Deep Web. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Really good.
Let's too. I am actually getting a second interview this next week. Letting everybody know, it's because it's good news. I'm getting a second interview, and I actually may be hired full time for a media team. Actually, for the mega church, getting paid like 40 to 50 hours a week, and then what they'd have me doing is actually working on their TV show, which gets over 100,000 views a month, and then also working on just all kinds of promos and things like that, basically expanding myself within the media world. So good news in general, just letting everybody know.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a very productive month, as you may know. I got some plans,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we will
Alrighty, man.
see. Yeah, man. So look, next Tuesday We'll talk about Tickled after you watch it. Can we do that?
Yeah, 7:30. My turn, 10:30 your time.
Awesome. All right, man. So
Alrighty.
peace out, everybody. See you.
We gotta come out with like a sign off or something, dude.
I'll write one down. I'll think about it for next
Yeah,
time.
we'll think about it. But either way, keep looking for new perspective, guys. That's my thing.
Deuces.
Deuces.